Hello students, today we are going to take unit number 3, two stories about flying. In this part, you will have to learn two stories, and these two stories are very inspirational one, very inspiring one, by which we can learn how we will have to develop the courage in our life. If we will have the courage, if we will be determined, then definitely whatever the great task, whatever the difficult task, we will be able to cope with. And you will have to keep one thing in your mind, that there is always first step which we will have to take in our life for traveling the miles and miles for the success. So it is always necessary to take the first step in our life, which is very much important. And here in the part 1, this first flight, which is written by Liam O. Flesherty. Here you can see seagull. Seagull is one of the beautiful creature ever created by the Almighty God. So we will go for the story of the seagull. So as we know that seagull was in the family of the six member, and his first flight, it is written about the seagull that the young seagull looked down desperately at the vast expanse. But as we know that in the earlier part, as it has been mentioned that it was very horrified to expand the wings, because as we all are born with the wings, but here seagull with the family of the six member always horrified to fly, and the young seagull always looked down desperately at the vast expanse of the sea that stretched down beneath the ledge. And really, he was hungry. He was looking down here and there. But his parents had flown away along with his brothers and his little sisters. He was left alone and alone on the rock without food. They could all fly, but unfortunately, he was not able to fly. Actually, the seagull was not interested to take the initiative. Actually, in other words, we can say the seagull has not courage to take the initiative. He had tried several times to run towards the brink of the ledge. Unfortunately, he could not get the courage. He tried to flap his wings, but he became afraid. He was certain that his wings would not support him. So such type of the fear in his mind. So he was not able to take the first initiative of the flying. His parents had tried countless times to make him fly, but for the life of him, he would not make an attempt. Family has concern of his food and even the fear of flying. Sometimes the family is also cajoling, sometimes making provoking statements for him, but unfortunately there was no result at all, and family leaves him alone. So now that seagull was perplexed what to do. He felt that he was going to starve to death on his ledge. Even his mother was not looking at him, and she was tearing a piece of fish with her beak. But now what happens? Temptation was there, because mother kept a piece of fish in its beak. So there was a big temptation. It was alluring him. The sight of the food maddened him. He cried at her, but she just screamed back mockingly. She did not provide that piece of fish to seagull. Everybody taunts him for his cowardice. Now the young seagull dives to catch a fish to feed himself. He begins to fly slowly downwards and upwards, and his mother flew upwards and he started falling. A monstrous terror seized him. But what happened? The next moment, that seagull realized that he was flying because he was born to fly and he had made his first fly. So he is now no longer afraid of the flying, falling down in the sea. He soars with the joyous scream. Seagull family comes near to him and encourage him. He has made his first flight successful. So, my dear friends, you all will have to follow and to keep the courage of the seagull in your life, because you will have to make the first flight in your life in the future. Now, regarding the question and answer, we shall discuss why was the young seagull afraid to fly? Do you think all young birds are afraid to make their first fly, or are some birds more timid than others? Do you think a human baby also finds it is a challenge to take its first steps? Yes, it is very well said that challenges make you strong and let you face your fear. The young seagull also had a challenge to face, and he was afraid because it was his first fly. I had already earlier mentioned that the initial step, the first step, is always difficult. So you will have to keep the courage, you will have to develop the risky attitude. So if the first step is taken properly, definitely the rest other steps automatically will be successful. I think mostly all young birds must be afraid to make their first flight, but exceptions are always there, as they might not find it much challenging. Similarly, a human baby would also find it a challenge to take their first steps. So, first questions you will have to write down in classwork book. Now we will go for the second one. The sight of the food maddened him. What does this suggest? What compelled the young seagull to finally fly? The young seagull was very hungry. It was this hunger that ultimately compelled and encouraged him to fly. When when he saw his mother tearing at a piece of fish that lay at her feet, his hunger intensified. He cried and begged her to give him some food. When he saw her coming towards him with food in her beak, he screamed with joy and anticipation. However, she stopped midway. Not being able to resist his hunger any longer, he dived at the food in her beak. At that moment, his hunger overpowered his fear of the great expanse of sea beneath the cliff. Finally, this plunge was followed by the seagull's first flight. Third question. They were beckoning to him, calling shrilly. Why did the seagull's father and mother threaten him and cajole him to fly? Answer. The young seagull was afraid to fly even when he saw his parents teaching and helping his brothers and sisters to fly, he still could not gather enough courage to make that first flight. That is why his father and mother were scolding and taunting him of his cowardice. They threatened to let him starve on the ledge if he did not fly. They did so because they wanted him to overpower his fear and take his first flight. Thank you.